Greetings, YouTube. The doctor is in. Dr. Urius Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And today we want to talk about money, cash, coins. We want to talk about some of the ways that the exchange of money or the exchange rates of money have changed over the different editions of Dungeons and Dragons throughout the years, how much things have cost. That is, when characters get loot, how much can they sell them for? How has that changed? And the other topic I want to kind of discuss is the weight of all of the loot that characters bring forth, particularly the weight of money and how the weight of coins. When we say money, we really mean coins, because we're talking about gold pieces, silver pieces, platinum pieces, all that. How much does that weigh? How much are the characters going to have to lug around? So I got a picture of Gary Gygax up here. He is the one that invented or created these things initially, and then they got refined. I mean, initially in like 1973, 74, when the first edition of Dungeons & Dragons come out, but really they hit their stride in 1978 when the first edition Player's Handbook, or the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook, came out. So let's take a look at that first one here. And here is a table, kind of. This is our first look at money and what the exchange rates are and how much they weighed and what you could do with your money and kind of all of those rules and policies behind that for first edition. So, of course, the basic unit of exchange was gold pieces, and then there were a number of different other coins that were available. So we had copper pieces, silver pieces. We had electrum pieces back then, which we don't have now, and then platinum pieces. And then they gave the basic exchange rate. Now, this is up for adjustment. It can be adapted. It can be amended. But this was the basic exchange rate that was given in the first edition Player's Handbook. That is, one gold piece, and everything, the gold piece was the standard, so that was kind of the beginning of our monetary policy. One gold piece was equal to 2 electrum pieces, so you needed 2 electrum pieces to make a gold piece. You needed 20 silver pieces to make 1 gold piece, and you needed 10 copper pieces to make 1 silver piece, or 200 copper pieces to make 1 gold piece. And then a platinum piece was only worth 5 gold pieces at that time. And then it was, the next sentence down says, assume the size and the weight of each of the coins is equal. So a platinum piece weighed as much as a gold piece. An electrum piece weighed as much as a gold piece. But technically they're different in their densities. So maybe one coin was bigger or thicker than the other one, if they all weigh the same. So that's the base exchange rate that we got. In addition to that, we got the monetary policy here, and this is kind of a rule, couple of kind of rules that Gary put in place, or suggestions that I think actually make sense in games going forward past first edition. Not just to have these in first edition, but also to have these in second edition, third edition, and fourth edition, even though we're not really going to talk about fourth edition, and fifth edition, and beyond. So, these could also apply or be house rules in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition 2024. So, large sums of lower value coins can be changed to a smaller number of larger value coins and vice versa at a relatively small cost. So, you got your players, they're going into this dungeon, they find a dragon horde, and the dragon is sitting on this giant pile of coins. And the coins are made up of copper pieces, silver pieces, gold pieces, platinum pieces. Maybe you include electrum pieces in there too. And so they have to haul out all these coins. And of course, they want to exchange them in so they don't have to carry all this stuff all the time. They want to take those copper pieces and take them to the coin star that is in whatever city they're in so they can exchange them out. Now, technically, and in real life, that's not done for free. The Coinstar does charge you a fee. The bank, if you take them to the bank, will charge you a fee. So that's what Gary is suggesting here, is that if you're turning coins in, you're going to get charged a fee. And it says typically 3% of the transaction. So it's a 3% transaction fee. This is done at the money changers. The money changer will also score as a banker, keeping funds and giving a marker to vouch for the amount. So you could go to a money exchanger in the town, like a city. You typically wouldn't find these in a small town, but you'd find these in a big city. And maybe in exchange for depositing all that money in the bank, you're not going to get charged this fee for the exchange, but you get a marker, which may or may not be easy to use someplace else. You get a marker and a checkbook. And back in 1978, there were checkbooks. Essentially, we didn't have electronic fund transfer or anything like that. So, and characters might get a marker, but again, this is fantasy role playing. There may not be a way for them to take that marker to another kingdom or another country and exchange that. So they may want something else, and that's something you're going to have to populate your world with. Is what is the money exchange? What are the prices for money exchange? And essentially, what is the monetary policy, and what is the banking rules going to be, and what are the different banks, who controls those banks, and what kinds of businesses do they also control. Now, it also says that bankers will give loans according to the reliability, renown, status, and material possessions of the individual, collateral. And then he talks about interest charged per month or week for different kinds of characters. For instance, low-level characters might get charged more, whereas higher-level characters that have properties that can be used as collateral might get charged less. Again, that's part of the monetary policy. This was addressed here in first edition. This was not necessarily addressed in second, third, fourth, or fifth edition. So these might be rules that you could apply for characters to add flavor and in-depth realism to your campaigns. Now, the next one is jewelers and gem merchants, because, again, those players are going to go in, they're going to defeat this dragon, and they're going to get a bunch of jewels and gems and jewelry and other art objects and things that are worth money, in addition to all the big pile of coins that the dragon is going to be on. So jewelers and gem merchants will buy and sell jewelry and gems. The buying price will usually be 20% under the actual value, because these jewelers and gem merchants, and just generally merchants, have to make money off of this stuff. Technically, the players got all this stuff for free, for not necessarily for free, but for defeating the dragon, for defeating the monster, for getting the treasure out of whatever adventure they're going on. So they are, if they have a 1,000 gold piece gem and they can sell it for 800, technically, they still have made 800. They didn't have to invest in any of that. So these are some potential rules that you could put into your game up front, so characters know that they're feeding into this monetary system and this system of business. Maybe there are specialty banks that appear in the world that will actually cater to players themselves and give them better rates of exchange for coins or better rates of exchange for jewelry and art objects. And then that could fuel whole storylines with the bankers and thieves robbing the bank, and maybe they make deposits and they get robbed there. There's all kinds of storylines that come off of that. Okay, now the other thing that I wanted to address was what money weighed, because we all know that you have to haul all this stuff out, and weight is an important part of the game because maybe characters can't take everything with them. Weight is usually stated in gold pieces. 10 gold pieces equals 1 pound, and Gary liked to use the hashtag mark as a pound. So that means 10 gold pieces weighs a pound, 100 gold pieces weighs 10 pounds, and he had pretty sophisticated rules for encumbrance for characters and how much they could carry. So again, that could be a way in which the characters are limited in how much treasure they can carry. It also could move the characters in a direction to get horses and carts and bags of holding and portable holes and things like that that are going to help them carry, and those actual things will be worth more to the players because they're going to absolutely need to have them to carry everything. Okay, let's take a look at second edition. Second edition really just had the standard exchange rates, and they didn't really change things very much. They still had electrum pieces, and two electrum pieces was still a gold piece. For platinum pieces was still 5. One gold piece equaled 5 platinum pieces. For the most part, it was all the same, except a silver piece is now a tenth of a gold piece, and a copper piece is 100th of a gold piece instead of 20 and 200. So that was a change that happened, but the platinum value and the electrum value were still pretty much the same. They didn't really talk about the weight, so I would just assume in second edition that the weight, one gold piece weighed a tenth of a pound, or 10 gold pieces weighed a pound. And they didn't really talk about like selling things. There's like some general paragraphs, but they didn't give concrete rules as to how much things could be sold for, or like money exchange or jewelry and gems. So let's take a look at third edition. And third edition had a pretty good thing here. So they talk about their exchange rate, and there's the table for the exchange rate. Now, electrum pieces are gone. Those have disappeared. So no more electrum pieces. We've got 1 platinum piece is 10 gold pieces. 10 silver pieces is a gold piece. And then most wealth, let's see here. Standard coin weighs about 1/3 of an ounce. And so 50 to a pound. So now 50 gold pieces equals a pound instead of 10. So that was a change that they made too. And they kind of addressed selling objects, but in more of a general kind of sense where they didn't really put any rules down. They just talked about it. Now let's take a look at 5th edition. And here we have electrum pieces are back. There they are right there. And 1 electrum piece is equal, 2 electrum pieces is equal to a gold. 10 platinum is a gold, and everything else. And standard coin weighs about 1/3 of an ounce, so 50 coins weigh a pound. So that carried over from 3rd edition to 4th edition. So we started out in 1st edition with 10 coins weighing a pound. Now it's 50 coins weigh a pound. So that has kind of changed. And that's up to you how you want to do that and how you want to change things. The exchange rate from 3rd edition carried over to 5th edition, but they added electrum pieces back in. I don't know very many people who do use electrum pieces. And in addition, 5th edition does talk about selling things. So selling treasure. Normally you can sell your treasures and trinkets when you return to a town, provided you can find a buyer and merchant. So it talks about arms, armor, and other equipment. As a general rule, undamaged weapons, armor, and other equipment fetch half the cost. And there is an equal amount for gems, jewelry, and objects. So it is assumed that they get full value in the marketplace, but then I would say the merchants would turn around and probably sell that for a profit. And then they talk about magic items. They were kind of chintzy on magic items when 5th edition first came out and about their value. Later on in Xanthars, they came out with some tables on how much magic items could be sold for. So that's just kind of an overview of money and the monetary system and monetary weights. And just, some ideas that Gary had, particularly our friend Gary Gygax. What did he have to add some flavor to that, to bring in some role-playing ideas into your game on how you can use banks and exchange rates and banking and monetary policy for adventures. All right, that is what I got for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.